Hey there, I am Danielle Arsenault and I'm a raw food chef and plant-based nutrition educator, and I was part of TEDx Abbotsford in 2017. I was on stage and I shared with you the power of plants. That's what that TED Talk is called. And it's because plants have so much power. It's my passion to share with you the deliciousness of plant-based whole foods, how delicious the food can be, and the nutrition that's power-packed within these foods. So today I want to show you a really simple recipe that you can make at home. I hope you're enjoying your time at home with your family, and this recipe you can use basically all different kinds of things that are in your fridge. So using up some of those vegetables that may be wilting, using up some of those nuts and seeds that maybe are pushed at the back of the fridge you haven't seen in a while. And it's so simple. All you need is a food processor or a high-speed blender and a bunch of different foods. So today I'm using hemp hearts, walnuts, carrots, celery, and green onion. And I'm going to create a pate, and I'm going to roll it up in a nori roll, and we're going to talk about the nutrition behind all this food. So if you watch my TED Talk, you will see how much I love seaweed. Okay, that is one thing that I recommend people eat every day. And there's all types of seaweeds. We have different edible seaweeds like nori, which we're using today, wakame, which you'll find in miso soup, kelp noodles. We're also going to be using kelp noodles today inside of our pate wrap. And then there's algae like chlorella and spirulina. Did you know that chlorella has something called the chlorella growth factor? And this actually is the fastest growing food on the planet. It can quadruple itself in 24 hours. So this is a high protein, super dense, nutritive food that you can eat on the daily to really get what you would call like a multivitamin in a whole food. So I recommend seaweed every day, and this recipe utilizes two different seaweeds. All right, so we've got hemp hearts and walnuts. So when you start your own pate at home, you can use any type of nut or seed you want. Keep in mind though, the fattier nuts like walnuts, macadamia nut, they're gonna provide a more creamy texture to your final pate. But if you use hemp hearts or pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, there might be a little bit less of that fatty element. So in that case, you can add a little bit of toasted sesame oil or maybe a little bit of olive oil. But when possible, try to use whole foods as much as possible. Okay, so let's add some of this food to our food processor. We're using the S blade. Now walnuts. Walnuts are really amazing because they're super high in omega-3 fatty acids. And if I can find a whole one in here, since they are the last of the bag, the walnut kind of looks like a little brain. Now, I'm sure you've seen a walnut before and you've probably recognized, oh man, yeah, it kind of looks like a brain. Well, it's brain food. It's very good for the brain because of the omega-3 fatty acids. And this is part of a concept called the doctrine of signatures. So it's been around since the 1600s, and scientists nowadays have actually seen that the food that looks like the body part that it helps actually helps. So the walnut looks like a brain and it helps your brain. Carrots look like an eye, although I don't have one that's whole round here. Carrots look like an eye, and they're good for your eyes. So they have, the iris, the pupil, and science nowadays can actually corroborate that the carrot is good for your eyes. So really awesome concept. You can check that out, the Doctrine of Signatures. So hemp hearts, this is another element that I want to add. Because hemp hearts are very rich in protein, especially for those on a plant-based diet. You're going to try to want to get your protein and your amino acids from a variety of different fruits and vegetables. Hemp hearts have a very high content of protein, so really good for including in your diet. You can throw them in basically anything from smoothies to salad dressings to on your salads, in your soups. You just sprinkle some on a sandwich. Really, as long as you get those in to your diet on the daily, you're going to get that nutrition. Let's add some carrots. So as I mentioned, they're very good for your eyesight. They're also really high in beta carotene. Here we've got green onion and celery. So the celery is long and skinny, looks like bones, and actually, yeah, celery is really good for your bones. Green onion, this is part of the allium family. I highly recommend that you eat onion or the onion family on the daily. So that could be garlic, leeks, white onion, red onion, shallots, green onion. Really excellent health food. Okay, and of course, if we talk about flavor balancing, okay, something else I'm really passionate about as a chef, and one of my specialties is to balance your flavors. So I could go really deep into this in this video, but instead I'll let you ask me some questions afterwards. Essentially, for flavor balancing, we have sweet, salty, sour, bitter, umami. That's kind of the 5, but I always like to add 2 more, a spice element and a fat element. And when you have all of those flavors all at once, you have something that will be so delicious in your mouth. So when you're making food at home, and if you consider, does it have a saltiness? Does it have a sweet? Does it have a sour? Does it have a bitter element, a spicy element, a fatty element? When you're making your food and you're adjusting it and trying to fix it, if you consider all these flavors, you're gonna come up with something that's really amazing. And I teach that in the courses that I teach online and live in person. So we have all those elements in this dish. Even the celery itself, although it's not as salty, it has a salty quality. So we don't need to add salt for saltiness. The seaweed provides a saltiness. We can add tamari, which will provide a saltiness. And tamari also adds an umami flavor. So umami is a Japanese word that means savory. So this is that savory element, okay? The onion provides umami as well. The carrot provides just that subtle sweetness. I'm gonna add just a dash of salt. Okay, and let's blend this up and see what happens. All right, as it's mixing up, I'm just gonna use a spatula to get it down there. You might want to do that as well in your kitchen. It's looking really good. So when you do this at home, like I said, you don't have to be super particular about what kinds of foods you eat, but I do recommend that you choose a nut or a seed and some vegetables. And then when you add those together, you have a really delicious pate. You can let it go for as long as you want. Right now it's kind of mixed, but not so mixed to the point where you can, it's not completely homogenized. So I could let it go longer, but I'm happy with how it turned out. Let me taste it. That's really good. So, spice element. I want to add ginger. Okay, ginger, very good for digestion, very good for nausea. So if you have any digestive issues whatsoever, and you put ginger in your food or make a ginger tea, it can really help soothe your stomach. All right, let's see. A little bit more just to mix that ginger in. Okay. Oh, that's looking good. All right. Really like a pate. This is also an excellent opportunity for you to get super delicious vegetables and nutritious food in that you may not like to eat. I know my husband, he is very picky with his greens, but if I threw a few greens in here, he wouldn't even know they were in there and he would still be getting the nutrition. So if you have kids at home that are picky, you can make a really delicious pate and throw all those things that they don't like in there, and then they'll still get that nutrition. All right, so I like it. It looks good. I'll taste it one more time. I tasted ginger immediately. It's not too much. It's not too sour, not too salty. That's what I'm missing, a sour element. And I didn't prepare it, so I'm going to just look here. Ha! Found it. apple cider vinegar, okay? You could use lemon as well, but let's put a tiny little bit. And then the reason that is because it was missing something. What was it missing? The sour element. Okay. Let's see. It's exactly what it needed. Amazing. Okay, so now we take our nori, shiny side down. Okay, you can get these from any health food store or grocery store. I like to use the raw nori. Nori, super high in calcium. Gram for gram, it has much more calcium than dairy. It's got magnesium, manganese, iron, and so many other minerals and vitamins as well. So I get the raw version, so I'm still getting a lot of the vitamins. It's high in vitamin C as well. If you get the toasted nori, it's just as delicious, but it has a different nutrient qualities. So let's take our nori, shiny side down, and let's get some pate. Okay. This stuff is also awesome. You have it in your fridge. It's ready to go at any time. You can eat it on crackers, which I've definitely done that. For those of you who have experience with raw foods or who have a dehydrator at home, you can dehydrate this into like amazing crackers or even like a pizza crust. So it's a very versatile recipe. Okay, what you want to do though, depending on what vegetables you use, is you want to taste balance it. So using those tips that I shared with you. Okay, so here I've got my nori and I've left some space at the top, as you can see. Okay. A little bit more. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is put some of the vegetables in the middle of this. So I love cucumber and avocado together at the same time. And that really reminds me of that, you know, sushi sort of flavor style. Having the ginger in there, it's really incredible. Okay, so we got some cucumber. Okay, I'm gonna stick a few pieces out to the side for garnish. Broccoli sprouts. So again, if you saw my TED Talk, you will hear me talk all about sprouts. Sprouts, along with seaweed, is one of the things that I recommend you eat every day. Now, broccoli sprouts are my favorite, especially because of their nutrient quality. They have what's called sulforaphane, and this is an antioxidant that's absolutely essential for the breakdown of old cells. And sulforaphane has been independently researched as a cancer preventative agent. So really incredible broccoli sprouts, so full of nutrition. And when you're eating sprouts, you're actually getting the combined nutritional advantage of many, many baby plants. So one of these little guys eventually will turn into a broccoli plant. So lots of nutrition in here. Let's get some avocado on there. Nice ripe one. All right. So I welcome you to ask any questions that you want after this video is over. Okay. So I'm ready to roll it. Let's move out of the way. Actually, one thing I also want to add are kelp noodles. So these are full of calcium as well, and another way to get seaweed into your diet. Okay, then I'm going to grab the edge, hold the middle down, and flip it over. This is a massive nori roll. Okay, then I'm going to pull back the nori. Okay, and I need to get a little bit of moisture here on the end. And that is to help it stick. All right, so if you're doing a nori roll like this, you don't need those bamboo mats at all. Okay, then I'm gonna cut it in half with a serrated blade so I don't squish it. Okay, then cut that part in half again. And then cut this part in half. Ooh, delicate. All right. Okay, then we can take a lovely plate. Okay, and plate it nice. Try to make it round. Okay, let's get some cucumber. All right, so these are violas, and I found them in the garden, and they are actually an edible flower. The purple color in the violas comes from the antioxidant anthocyanin. So this is a powerful antioxidant that can actually help reduce signs of aging. And it's the same antioxidant that's present in purple cabbage, as an example, or even purple onion. So we're going to add these, so providing that really beautiful garnish to our nori. And then the last thing is, just for your sake at home, when you're at home, to create like this lovely little dipping sauce that goes along with the nori pate. And that is 5 parts tamari with 1 part toasted sesame oil. So I've already mixed this up, and you can see it's kind of, there we go. All right, so you would serve this awesome sauce, which is very simple to make, with your nori, and that's about it. Yeah. So I hope that you learned some things about flavor balancing. I hope that you learned some things about your favorite vegetables, nuts, and seeds, and I welcome all the questions in the world. Thanks.